This is the Barbados Today morning news for Monday, January 30th. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary Claire Williams. One government senator says while the Freundel Stuart administration may be constrained by the current economic challenges, it has moved to protect workers' rights. Verla Depeiza was addressing a joint meeting of the DLP Christchurch West and Christchurch East Central branches at the Arthur Smith Primary School yesterday. She pointed to the recently passed legislation as some of the measures taken so far.
Making persons comfortable in the workplace has been a major focus of this last administration. And that is important even in times when the unemployment rate is uncomfortably high, because you're setting the scene and you're setting the standards for when people are in the workplace and also for those who already are there, so that everyone knows what it is that they are entitled to. So now workers are certain that they are entitled to compensation if they are unfairly dismissed. They are certain that there are particular things that they have to be given whilst they are still employed. You have to have your record of employment, you have to have your contract of employment, you know exactly how much notice time minimum is to be given to you, and you have a mathematical calculation in the event that things go wrong as to what is your due.
4 families in St Vincent and Barbados are today in mourning following a fatal accident in Graham Hall early Sunday. 3 Vincentian teenagers, 19-year-old Aziza Denny, 18-year-old Carrie-Ann Padmore, and 17-year-old Danny Horn were killed in a 2-vehicle smash-up which occurred around 3 a.m. They were in Barbados on a 6-week internship at the Crane Resort and were due to return home yesterday morning. Barbadian 23-year-old Andre Jabari Gittins of St Philip, who was the driver of their vehicle, also died in the crash. 2 other Vincentians, 18-year-old Darren Ronaldo Daniel and 21-year-old Camilias Boye, were taken to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital for injuries. Taxi driver 52-year-old Curtis Rock of Belle Plaine St Andrew and one of his passengers, Camelia Hunt of St John, were also taken to the QEH for medical attention. Police say they are yet to confirm the names of 2 other women who were traveling in the van and left the scene in private vehicles to seek medical attention. Lawmen are asking anyone who may have witnessed the accident to contact the Worthing Police Station at 430-7615 or 430-7612. Meanwhile, St Vincent's Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves spoke with Barbados Today on Sunday. He said it was a moment of great sadness for both countries.
The Deputy Dean of the Division of Technical and Vocational Studies of the Community College would have left this morning for Barbados. And we have made all the arrangements to contact the councillors, people who are involved in this business of holding people's hands and caring for them at times of bereavement or tragedy. All that has been mobilized. We have to get to the other students. We have 7 other students there at Crane. 2 should have come in this morning. And we're doing all our best to provide the psychological and other supports for the families and the other students. It's a period of real sadness. It's terrible when anyone dies in an accident, but it is absolutely devastating when it's a young person.
In other news this morning, a technology upgrade for schools across the island. Education Minister Ronald Jones is promising that within a month, every school will be equipped with computers. Jones was addressing the graduation ceremony of the Earlston Teachers Training College over the weekend.
In another few weeks, across every school, Ambassador, Earlston College, JPP, BCC, every school, including the private schools, everyone, once they're registered with us, will be completely redeploying technology across every one of those. From tablets, laptops, and desktops. Everyone, 3 weeks to a month, My challenge to you is to care them. Gift to Barbados. Have to buy them. We got to pay a few little cents at the port, but we didn't have to buy them. But they're a gift to Barbados as a result of our anniversary. So we're going to deploy them right across the system. To be kept at home, to be used in schools, themselves and the students. Secondary schools, 5th and 6th forms, laptops for every child. Starting with the 6th form, 5th, and then the others. Every school will have tablets as well, as I said, laptops and desktops, and we'll gradually put back in some of the other apparatus.
Jones says the computers were a gift to Barbados for the island's 50th independence anniversary. However, he did not name the donor. In sports, the Guyana Jaguars' Shimron Hetmeyer has been fined for a breach of the code of conduct during the second round of matches in Group B of the regional Super 50 tournament. Hetmeyer was reported by on-field umpires Jonathan Blades and Leslie Reefer Jr., along with reserve umpire Troy Tudor, for a level 1 breach of the code of conduct during the match between the Jaguars and Jamaica Scorpions at Kensington Oval last Thursday. He slammed his bat onto the pitch following his dismissal. This contravenes the code through the abuse of cricket equipment or clothing or ground equipment or fixtures and fittings. Hetmeyer was fined 25% of his match fee for the offence. He admitted to the offence and accepted the sanctions proposed by match referee Mervyn Jones, so there was no need for a formal hearing.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Get your paper, get your paper. Only $2.25, $2.20. Who? For what? That's Bear Still News. I don't read about that on Barbados Today since last night. That can't only can't do. $2.20. Who?
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
We're back now with news from the region, and there are fears in Trinidad and Tobago of a possible increase in the price of fruits and vegetables as a result of the presence of the giant African snail. As we hear in this report from TV6 News, it feeds off hundreds of plant types and also poses a health risk to humans.
The snails were previously confined to certain areas, namely Diego Martin, but they have somehow found themselves many miles away.
We understand equipment that was used in Diego Martin was used in the compound over there. And all it takes is one snail to travel.
Over 600 farmers claim to have already lost a significant amount of food crops, as they have been battling with the infestation for the last 3 months.
This is a national issue here. And if this is allowed to get out of control with all the challenges that farmers face already, this will be the end, basically, for farmers.
The Agriculture Society and the farmers are warning that should this continue, it would lead to inflated prices for market produce in the future. They are now calling on the Agriculture Minister and the government by extension to take immediate action.
We hear from your ministry personnel that you don't have money. We are asking the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance to find some money because this country's food production is now at risk.
The giant African snail also poses health risks to humans. According to the Ministry of Health's website, the snail is a vector of the rat lungworm, which causes eosinophilic meningitis in humans.
And finally, on the international scene, there's growing criticism from the international community over U.S. President Donald Trump's order to halt the arrivals of refugees and people from 7 Muslim-majority countries. Trump signed the order on Friday, but it was met with protests in airports on Saturday. On Sunday, Trump and his senior aides defended the policy, with Trump saying the country needs stronger borders and extreme vetting. One official also said the order could be expanded to include more countries. Other world leaders have been criticizing the move, as we hear in this Reuters report.
A global backlash against Donald Trump's immigration crackdown gathering pace. Traditional allies speaking out against the US president's actions.
L'accueil des réfugiés qui fuient la guerre, qui fuient
Welcoming refugees who flee war and oppression is part of our duty. We must ensure it happens in a fair, correct way and also in solidarity. And ensuring the way we do it, that's why European dialogue and European solidarity must continue to play a role, and clearly play a role, and that each nation must play its part, so that societies are not unsettled, but that they fulfil their commitments, and that they are faithful to our values.
In Germany, Chancellor Angela Merkel said the global fight against terrorism was no excuse for the measures and does not justify putting people of a specific background or faith under general suspicion. A petition calling for the United Kingdom to cancel the president's trip this year has been signed by more than 250,000 people. The leader of the opposition and London's mayor among those opposed to Trump visiting. British Prime Minister Theresa May, fresh from a trip to the White House, said US policy was its own business, but later said she doesn't agree with the clampdown.
That's the news this morning. Remember, you can get more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Or you can tune in to Channel 99 on Flow TV or Mix 96.9 FM for more news and sports. I am Mary Claire Williams. Good morning.